What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Hooptalk, the podcast. We're all the way at episode 19, man. Like I said, we're back and ready and for some action. We've done 3 episodes in a row, luckily, man. Even though there's been some bumps in the road, we've been able to get here. Basketball has kind of been slowing down for us, but we're hoping that by next week everything will spark up, man. The names are going to come up. You already know it's the same gang as usual, so let's get right into it. First line of business, we got some games. We had a few games this weekend. Some local basketball was happening. We had some FBA E League. We had some ABA, and even an exhibition game. We had a couple things happening, starting with the E League playoffs. Started off. First game of the evening was between. Were we the first game, or were the? Actually, I don't know who the first game was. I'm not gonna lie.
Pretty sure it was Army versus the Navy.
No,
Because I
no,
remember
we were the
watching you
first game.
guys.
Yeah, because we played at 7. Yeah, the Vipers were the first game versus the Alpha Lions, and then the Airmen teams played at 8:30. I remember now. But yeah, the Lions unfortunately knocked us off in the first round, 95 to 87. I was not in attendance, unfortunately, due to some other commitments. This was a busy weekend for me, and Coach D was able to take over for me, but did not work out for us. We had a decent roster show up. I think about 9 of our players. I think Keyshawn Robinson was the only one that was not able to make it. He's been hurt for a while now. He got a little bit banged up, unfortunately. But we had everybody else show up in Alliance. They beat us. I was able to tune in every once in a while, as much as I could. I was busy at a event, which we'll have as a topic later in a moment here. But um, yeah, it looks like the Lions kind of took a lead at some point in the game or throughout the game, and we just could never really bounce back there. It was unfortunate. I really thought this was going to be a really big season for the Vipers, but a lot of things happened in the background that kind of prevented us from being able to gel together and work towards improvement and getting better as a team. So, we're hoping that we can bounce back in the future. But I don't know if you guys had a chance to gander at the game or skim through it. But if you have any thoughts or feedback, feel free.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what I said to you guys the other day. I feel like the Vipers, you said that you guys are a second half team. The second half is always when you guys falter, though. You guys play very well in the first half. You play a lot more poised, a lot more confident. People are passing the ball a lot more. You guys are hitting more shots. And then sometime in the second half, like somebody will get a call that they don't like, somebody won't get a stop, and somebody else will get upset for it, and you guys kind of break down. And that's what I felt like happened again. Who's number two on the Lions? Do you know?
No, I haven't had a chance to learn their names, unfortunately.
Now, is Mike Millsap on the Lions? Am I bugging? Number
Uh,
12?
he's on their roster. The games that I've seen, he hasn't been there, but he is on their roster.
I'm pretty sure. I vividly remember his green shoes, and I feel like I saw him there. And he was, man, if that was him, because it looked like him, he was also having a day. He was very poised. He was creating. He was playing very great defense. But again, though, like you guys are a great first half team. Every time I've seen the Vipers, they play very very well in the first half, and then they just lose it in the second. And it happened again today,
You
especially in
said
that third
that.
and fourth quarter.
You said that last week. No, I can't. I won't. I can't speak for this week. Unfortunately, I've been back to back with different things all week long, so I wasn't really able to watch the full game. So I can't speak for this game. But I know you mentioned the same thing last week, and it's a little confusing to me because being there in person, that first half didn't feel good to me at all. You know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like we were doing all the little things. Maybe from a scoring perspective, there's a chance it looked better. Maybe I don't think so either. But like it just to me that first half felt bad. It just we were not crashing the boards. We were not playing defense correctly. And we were losing the majority of that half. We only led in the beginning, which was like the beginning portion of the first quarter. But then
Yeah.
once the other team got the lead, it was pretty much their lead for the rest of that half, to the point where they got into double digits going into the second half. And that's why I say, we were a second half team because the second half we finally picked it up. We started to get the game close. The fourth quarter is where we picked it up the most defensively. Started getting a lot of stops. Started getting forcing a lot of turnovers, and we were able to tie the game at the end, which is why I consider us to be, if you were down double digits in the first half and you tie the game in the fourth quarter, that means you won the second half. So we lost the first half and we won the second half. So wouldn't that make us a second half team, that game at least?
No, you're a fourth quarter team. You're not a second half team because third quarters are very bad in both games for the Vipers.
I
The
Yeah,
mean,
you
third
guys
quarter
were.
is
from
terrible.
my knowledge, the fourth quarter is a part of the second half. But hey, I'm not here to
But no,
judge.
but then you would also be doing well in the third quarter. You would also be doing well if you're doing bad in the first, second, and third quarter. Like
so we're a
you're just bad for three
so
quarters.
we're a half of the second half team. I'll take
Yeah, you could say
Yeah.
that. You're a half of a half.
it. No,
No
but yeah,
bueno.
it's a lot of ups and downs. I mean, you guys know based on that's why we're here now. It's 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning. My schedule got really effed up, and that really put a hindrance on practice schedules and all that stuff. So there's been so many factors that really held us back. I really wanted this to be the season to really prove something. I really did believe that we were better. I really do believe we're better than Shine On and we're better than the Alpha Lions because at the end of the day, we have beat them already. You know what I mean? That Shine On game literally came down to the last second, to the last shot. So like we didn't need to allow that to happen. We could have definitely done better. But we beat the Lions the first time we played them. We beat the Shine On the first time we played them. And then we finished the season losing to both teams, and that's just unfortunate. But I think we definitely had the talent to beat them. If you really look at it, I think we had the versatility to beat them. It's
You had
just
the size
we just
too.
yeah, we have the size. We have everything you would want. It's just we didn't have the we didn't have the ability to develop our consistency. To develop our strategy and kind of go out there and know what type of team we're supposed to be. So it was kind of became sporadic basketball every night, and plenty of things are to blame for that. But at the end of the day, it's up to us to make it work. That's all that I can say,
Yeah,
and we didn't make it work. So finished the season
yeah.
3-3 and lost in the playoffs.
I do have some questions because I was watching the whole third quarter while you guys were talking. Shout out to Tyler and the speed back thing from YouTube. But in that fourth quarter, you guys were up by like 10, bro. And then I felt like you guys just started fouling a lot in that third quarter. It was like a lot of dumb knick-knack fouls that didn't need to happen. And on top of that, like I just feel like what you said, bro, the cohesiveness. It was just I think the rotations were a little weird. I think your rotations were different than coaches' rotations. And I can see a lot of the time certain players coming out the game when they're not used to coming out the game. And I think that could affect how someone's playing the game. Especially if you're like, let's say, I don't know how you work, Nas, but let's say, hey, Nas, hey, Jello, every game we play this year, you're playing that third quarter. Don't worry about anything else. I'm not taking you out. And then a new coach comes and he's like, you know what? You're not paying this third quarter. I'm going to put someone else in. I just feel like little things like that can affect a team. And rotations are everything. I think we know that as the more we've learned about basketball, like having players in certain positions and spots is very important. It was just like when Andre Iguodala would come off the bench for the Warriors and they would go on those third quarter runs. It's the same thing. So that's the only thing I really noticed. It's just the cohesiveness just wasn't there.
One thing I
You know,
noticed, Mackey, the last time I saw him, I don't remember him being much of a shooter. Through two games I've watched so far,
Who?
he looks like Mackey. Last name?
Mickle?
Am I saying it wrong?
that's Nick.
Mickle.
That's Nick. That's Nick.
That's Nick.
Well, I mean,
That's Nick.
I hope you know who Nick is. I think he knows who Nick is. I don't think he's talking about Jamarcus. I think he
Yeah,
knows who Nick is.
Oh, okay.
yeah, because Nick
Okay,
has been
Nick.
here. Mickle, I apologize. He wasn't here for the Serpents last season. I remember he was there for the first time I started watching, and now he's kind of back around the Vipers.
I mean, nobody was here
He
for the
was
Celtics
not.
last season.
Hey, fair. The last season that you guys played, he wasn't really too much of a shooter from what I remember, and it looks like he's improved. Would you say that?
He's always had the shooting ability. His biggest area of improvement, I'd say, is his aggressiveness. I think he
Yeah.
questions his ability, but you talk about we have, let's say, 15 people on the Serpents team, including myself and coaches. I'm looking at everybody, and only 1 out of 15 questions his ability to get it done, and that's himself. You know what I mean? Like, we all have told him over and over and over and over again, like, you can hoop, bro. That just go out there and hoop, and it's what do you call it? It's a symptom we see in a lot of players, especially when they join new teams. um, I think we have a lot of overpowering personalities that take a lot of shots, but even those players, they don't care. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing it because you're not taking the shot. Somebody gotta fucking have to. You know what I mean? So, like, it's he definitely has always had the shooting ability. I wouldn't call him some spectacular knockdown shooter, but he's somebody that I want to take a shot more often than he's doing now. You know what I mean? And I think over the year last year, I don't know what he did. I don't know if he played more basketball. I don't know if his time with the Kings was fruitful for him. I don't know exactly what could have happened, but he did come this time around uh, with a little bit more aggressiveness, I'll say. So that's probably why you look at him as a better shooter now than he was before, just because he's taking the shot
I
more
think so.
often.
Yeah, I
Like,
remember him
real quick,
him primarily
go
being a
ahead.
defender last season. Like, that was the last time I watched, and at times he's a facilitator, but I remember his defensiveness a lot more than anything else. His
Uh,
capabilities there.
I got a question because I don't know exactly who we're talking about. We're talking about the kid with the tattoos,
I don't
Number
think he
one,
the
I
has
blonde
think.
hair
tattoos.
now. The your other big man, the power forward.
No,
Are
he's a
we talking
point
about
guard.
him? Oh, never
Yeah,
mind. Wrong guy. Yeah, never mind. Oh, you're
I think
talking
you're
about
talking about
that really
Aiden.
uber athletic dude. He's kind of shifty. I've seen him at West Corral a couple times. I know exactly who you're talking about.
I'm gonna
Number
need
one.
I'm gonna need a little bit better
Yeah,
understanding of your whole uber athletic
My
terminology,
bad.
because you used it
I
with.
don't think he's uber athletic, but he's pretty athletic. He's pretty
Uber Athletic is
fast.
like Jello.
He's,
Like,
he's
Jello's
pretty.
pretty
Yeah, my
athletic.
bad. I don't even think. Ooh, let me not do that. But
But you call Jay
I,
uber athletic, and you're trying to tell me Jello isn't more athletic than
well, I didn't mean to say
Jay?
uber athletic. I meant to say like he's pretty fast and quick, and he's a pretty decent defender.
He's
But
shifty.
yeah, I will say this, and I kind of see what you're talking about confidence wise. Some players like they really like destroy their career not being able to be like, yo, I can make this shot. I know I can. And I'm not saying that he's destroying his career. I'm just saying like that confidence side of basketball is literally like at least 60% of who you are as a basketball player. And I think that's why I'm like really like Anthony Edward moving forward to use that. It's because like confidence is key to anything. Like even you, Nas, doing the Serpents and running this whole business, you need to have the confidence of being like, yeah, I know this is going to work out because it's in my favor. And it's got to be the same for him. And I just feel like I know what you're talking about now. It's that I don't know, just not that feistiness that one should have about their shit. Like if you try me on offense and you score on me, I should want I'm not saying that I shouldn't, but I should want to go back at you. I should want to be like, yo, you're good. I'm just as good. So I can see what you're saying on that end of things, 100%.
That's also some way that people kill their careers is by thinking I can make the shot, and then they can't make that shot. They just keep trying to make that shot.
And a lot
Yeah,
of
Norris
players,
Cole learned
Keep
that
that in
quick.
mind.
don't realize how that can impact their game in so many ways, right? So I continue to use Jamarcus as an example. Is one of his preferred things to always go out there and do is to play make. He likes to be the one with the ball. He likes to pass. He likes to find opportunities. But if he could just create a level of aggressiveness for himself, hit those passes just going to be easier. Whereas they become
Yep.
harder now when you're just trying to set a screen, do a little shovel to the right and hope that your big man rolls hard to the basket. But it's like, if you just take that screen, cut the corner, and drive to the basket, your big man doesn't even have to roll as hard. He just has to trail behind you. And you draw the attention that he needs to be wide open. So, boom, there goes the dump off right there. You know what I mean? It's the classic case of the Chris Paul. You know what I mean? He's not just going to get a screen and just do a little side dribble in the perimeter, just hoping that he can lob it over the top.
Oh,
No,
you're a
he's going to
big
take
man.
that screen. Yeah, he's gonna take that screen hard. He's gonna force their big man to switch. He's gonna break them down, and then he's either gonna take a shot himself or his big man's gonna be wide open for a mismatch down low. And it's the aggressiveness to be like, the screen and roll is not about my big man's ability to roll to the basket and be wide open. The screen and roll is about two players playing together to make the defense make a decision on who they're going to guard. And
Exactly.
it becomes so much harder when you don't become the aggressor, and now they can decide who they're going to guard pretty easily because you're out here
Yeah.
just dribbling on lackadaisical. All right, I'm just going to stay in front of you, and the roll man can be guarded one regardless. So it's like it don't matter now. So a lot of players don't realize that aggression makes everything they want easier for them. It makes finding open shots easier. It makes finding open passes easier. It makes, even getting in transition easier because the defense is going to have a hard time, getting back when you're aggressive and attacking. You get the rebound, push the ball in transition, make sure they can't set themselves up. But a lot of players play with a level of nonchalantness that really sets them back, and I think that's what the differentiator between Jamarcus in the past and Jamarcus now has been. I still think he can kick it up a notch, like a bunch of notches. Don't get me wrong, but I think that would be the difference to me. Like from what you've seen in the
Yeah.
past and what you're looking now, I think he's taking more shots that we're not accustomed to him taking. He's attacking more than what we're accustomed to, and I think that's going to be big time for us moving forward because I've always liked Jamarcus. One of the most dedicated players on the team. He comes from far away. He comes straight out of work. You know what I mean? Brings all his gear with him in the car and just drives like an hour and a half to get to DeLand for practice. And he's always there. You know what I mean? There's dudes that live 30 minutes away and can't show up consistently. There's dudes that live in DeLand and can't show up consistently. If you know, you know. So I've always liked Jamarcus. I've always liked Jamarcus. I've always liked what he brings to the table. I think he's always lost his role on the team because he's just not as aggressive as Nick. He's just not as aggressive as James. He's not as aggressive as Jalen. So like I think he could compete with all three of them for a big role at that guard position if he just plays just as aggressive as they do.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with his game. I like that he's a traditional point guard. But I think you're right. I think development is a big thing. And I think if he was able to develop, like you said, maybe a Chris Paul mid range store where he can just step into the shot when he knows it's there for him. Because I'm looking at the pick and rolls. A lot of the pick and rolls, they're going under him. They're not going over. And anybody else, not anybody else, any other point guard or shooter is taking that shot every single time. I'm gonna make you get over the screen. So I can agree with that. I can agree with you on that 100%. That
Yeah.
was a bad shot. Sorry. Sorry.
But yeah, but some more E-League action. The next game up, both Airmen team were forced to face off against each other and knock one out of the playoffs early when the Airmen Army had to go up against Airmen Navy. Navy unfortunately did not have a very successful season, finishing unfortunately 0-6. They were not able to get a win throughout the year. Airmen Army, on the other hand, had a pretty good season, a really good turnaround. They started the season 0-2, then they won 3 games in a row, all in one single weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then unfortunately came up short their last game. I forget who they played. They came up short. All I know is it was a surprising loss. I did think they were going to win that, but I think it was the Lions. The Lions definitely did turn around as well, showing us what they were capable of. But the Army were able to knock off their sister program, I guess you could call it, 84-74. I was able to tune in for a couple seconds throughout that as well while I was at my event. And I did see that at points in the game, it was a tie game. So it looked like it was competitive throughout, and the Army kind of slipped away at the end. But shout out to the Navy for putting up a fight. The Army definitely got the, how can I say, the Navy got the short end of the stick when it comes to picking players from the flight roster. No offense, I'm just saying. The Army, they got themselves Tyler, Nelms, and Bulb. So and then coached by Will. So they definitely got the longer straw there in that little competition. But the Army got it done. I did think they were going to struggle based on how they started, but they were able to finish, and now it's going to be I want to say it's Lions versus Caymans, Army versus Shinon for round 2. So that's what we have coming up.
One thing that confuses me, I feel like you could have picked different colors for the teams. Like I don't understand why the Airmen Army are blue when there's a Navy team. That is kind of confusing me. Like the whole time I watch the games, I just have to like remind myself that this is not what I think it is. This is the Army that are winning right now. Tyler was having a game, bro. Tyler was absolutely having a fucking game.
Per
Um,
usual.
Hitting a lot of nice shots. Shout out to the Tyler Alliance. We're slowly growing in Central Florida, along with the Short King Alliance. He's not a part of that, but I
Chapter
feel like I should kind of
76.
shout you that. Yeah, I didn't get to watch the full part of this game. I think I got to around the third quarter, and that's really where the Army just started pulling away. Um, Honestly, though, they kind of did lead most of this game by 10. There was points where Navy would come back and they would go on a quick little run, and the Army would squash that and immediately moving forward, just take back over again. I think Will is I like Will. I think Will is making good decisions with the substitutions. I don't know if he's calling any plays or anything because I'm not there, but whatever he's doing, it's obviously working for the Army for them to turn around so much. On the Navy, you had mentioned that they also picked some people from the flight. Who else did they pick other than Nick? Nick is the only one I really recognize. Okay.
Oh,
I
wait a
apologize
minute.
for not knowing the name.
I did it again.
What?
I was on mute. To answer Tyler's question, it was one of the players that played on the Lions last year in the freaking Ox League. I'm not gonna go over that whole explanation again. I'm sorry. All I can tell you is he's a black kid. That's all I know. I don't know his name. That's all.
He might have cut his hair. We don't know if he cut his hair. There's 4 players:
He did cut his
Tyler,
hair.
Sean, and Will.
He did cut his hair. I'm almost positive. Um,
I think I'm more tapped in. I also didn't know that they brought 4 players. I need to get better with learning the flight. That's all it is. But
Yeah.
shout out to Nick. Shout out Nick Troy always.
Yeah, his
Who
name
watches
escapes
this
me,
season.
unfortunately. Hopefully, that's the only part that I was muted for. I'm pretty sure it was. But yeah, he was the other one. But I'm just saying, I don't know how the division of players was decided there, but I definitely think the Navy got the short end. And I'm not trying to say that as a way of sounding negative. I'm just, listen, when I'm on here, I'm Nas the podcaster. I'm not here to be anybody's FBA friend or nothing like that. Listen, I'm just saying how it is. I think the Navy got the short end of the stick there. I think you probably could have done with putting Tyler on the Navy. That's how I see it. I think Bulb and Nelms would have been great on the Army. Tyler and Nick on the. Did I say
It
that
would have
right?
been
Yeah, on the
so
Navy.
big, though.
And there
It would
was
have been
other
so
players,
big.
huh?
They would have been so big. The Army, if they would have had Tyler, because
No,
Tyler's.
the Navy.
Am I saying it the wrong way?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if
They
the
had the
Navy had
number
Tyler,
14. They got like some like 6'9" dude on the gray team, which is
that's the
the
Army.
Army team, or that's the Army team. Yeah, they would have been
No,
huge, bro. They would have been too
that's the
good.
Navy.
Oh,
That's
that
the
game they
Navy.
wore gray. Are you sure?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Did they though? Are you sure?
About to have
The
fucking
Navy wore gray
meltdown.
this game, and the Army wore blue. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought. Okay. Well, I know
Which just drives me
from a
crazy.
social media branding perspective, I always use gray for anything Army related, and the navy blue for anything Navy related. Because as Tyler is saying, that did make sense to me. But I think they split up the team at the last minute. It was never pre-planned
Ah,
that they were gonna do
okay,
this.
okay,
Uh,
makes sense.
Mark had an influx of players who said they wanted to try out the E League or whatever, so he decided, he can't put his whole flight team on there because that would be a little unfair, and I agree. So he split them up into two teams and quote unquote divided the players. Like, quote unquote. But yeah, it looks like the Navy did not get the good end of that. But no, I think Tyler. I mean, Tyler is tall, but he's not like a big man. You know what I mean? Like he's not using his length to a point where it's gonna be
Oh, I
a
know what you're talking about. He did cut off his hair. He was my teammate. That's my bad. It just hit me. I'm
yeah. I
sorry.
just don't know his name. Um, but yeah, I think
Yeah, he's
What number is he?
excuse me.
he was on the sideline typing the mark. I didn't get to see the number. I'm watching the fourth quarter.
And I apologize because I'm Nelms is 32, right?
I don't know numbers. He's a big man for the Army though. I don't know numbers.
Okay, yeah, that's who it is. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Well,
and he's a good big
yeah, I don't think this is fair.
he's a good big man because you look at it from a I think Nick and Bulb
That's
cancel each other
dumb.
out because I think Bulb isn't necessarily going to try and go out there and overpower anybody offensively, whereas Nick has the ability to shine now and have more offensive touches. And I think Nelms and Tyler cancel each other out. I think Tyler obviously being the best player on the flight last year. Well, co-best players. I think him and Dom kind of swapped off here and there, but what you call it? I think Nels and Tyler for the most part cancel each other out because I think Nels is really good. I like him a lot. I think his post game is really good. I think his rebounding is phenomenal. Overall, I think he's a great player. So I just feel like that would have been the better route to go. But I mean, hey, who knows? I don't know what they talked about, behind closed doors. I don't know how they decided stuff. I'm just out here giving my opinion. But hey, they disagree clearly.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, they won at the end of the day.
Yeah, they won at the end of the day.
The, the wrong colors.
But next we have some ABA action that we were not able to be in attendance for. Not too much to discuss here, just because I don't think the game was able to be live streamed or anything due to the fact that we had a lot of conflicting issues, health related, family related, other events. It was just it was very unfortunate. So apologize, Amy, in advance. I don't know if you watched the
Yeah.
podcast whenever the Royals aren't going to be a topic. So hopefully you do. We apologize for not being able to make this happen. A lot of things went wrong, and we definitely will do whatever we can to make up for it. Because Amy did bless us recently, and I think we gotta pay it back in full as much as we can. Um,
Oh,
Sure.
absolutely.
um,
Also,
Shout out
just
to
not
Andy.
before we move forward, not even because of that, the Royals were very receptive to us. They were very open with supporting us. A lot of the team would reach out to us very often and speak to us. So I love working with the Royals. I love working with Amy. This is an amazing opportunity. I apologize for not being able to make it just like everybody else, but we appreciate this opportunity with working with you guys.
Yeah.
I've loved it.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun watching some high level basketball players. I think my favorite part about the NBA, it was my first real moment to see other players in other states come to Florida and play. And I haven't got to experience that yet with these
And
other
get
leagues.
cooked.
Yeah, it's been like this. I've just been in the Central Florida regimen, and that's our goal this year, anyways, was to take over Central Florida. But regardless, it was just good to see other talent from other places, to see how people play basketball. Um, it was awesome, and I think that's my favorite takeaway. Amy's team did so good this year. They were a great home team, and that's what we got blessed with. Was a bunch of great home games. Food was good. I think another last thing I want to say is the atmosphere. I've been to a lot of different recreational semi-pro teams over the last 3 years. I've been with these guys, but they have the most consistent fan base that I've seen, and I want to shout out their fan base as well. They're awesome. They're there for their players. They'll fight with their players apparently. So it's pretty dope. I liked it. The DJ was always there, never missed a week. So definitely, DJ was there more than me.
that's for damn sure.
But but shout
I forgot. Yeah.
he was killing it the whole season. He was killing it the whole season. But regardless, just on a professional tone, I think Amy has substance here, and she has something to really build off. And it could go a long way. So yeah, shout out to the Hope Brown Royals. I appreciate the opportunity for sure.
But shout out to the Royals, man. After losing their last home game, they were able to bounce back with a bang. They've had to cancel two home games in a row. There was some internal issues for one game, and then I think the second game was due to the other team. I think they had to cancel, if I'm not mistaken. But they were able to bounce back after being gone from Carver Center or from Carver Recreation Center for so long. It's been almost a month for pretty much. Um, they were able to bounce back 114-91. They beat the Florida Tropics, um, who originally had Trent on that team. Isn't that what we discovered? Right?
Brent and Enrique, but I don't think that they're
Wow.
on there anymore.
Oh, yeah, I know Trent for a fact was not at that game because Trent was at the same place I was when that game was. Oh no, that was Friday. Never mind, I lied.
Yeah,
Different
I was
days.
gonna
My
say.
bad. Yeah, that was Friday. Never mind. But I do know for a fact that I mean, I guess anything's possible, but I do know from my personal experience, once you sign with the Lambs, your opportunities to play elsewhere have dwindled down. So I'm gonna assume that's also what happened with Trent, and he was not able to finish his season with the Tropics. Now, I'm not here to put anybody on the spot. Luckily, I wasn't able to watch the game, so I can't confirm nor deny. But the Royals did win that decisively. That is I'm doing my math right, 23 points, 23-point game. So they were able to bounce back. That's their last home game of the season. From my understanding, I don't think they're rescheduling anything. I know one of them was a forfeit. I know that for a fact. They forfeited against last week's opponent. Um, so I think that's it for the Royals. We're going to do some research to see where they placed, but they're definitely a playoff team. I know they're one of the ranked teams out of I think they have in the ABA over 100 teams, and I think they do a top 25 ranking, is it? And I know the Royals were on there, so that definitely means they must be in the playoffs and probably have good favor. Um, where did they say the playoffs were this year? I remember telling you, Tyler, but I can't remember. Was it
I think Atlanta. No,
Atlanta?
Vegas. No. Yeah, Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta. Yeah, so they're gonna have the playoffs. And I think it's I don't know if it's the whole playoffs or, I actually don't know. I
Finals.
think it's the whole playoffs, huh?
I remember. I think it might actually be the finals.
No, it can't be because I remember talking about how many games they're gonna play and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if it's the ending of the playoffs, like the final four, or like I don't that kind of thing. But it's gonna be in Atlanta this year. They do it every year. They pick a location where teams have to travel to. So the ABA, they're doing big things, and they provide an opportunity for players to really play a level of basketball that's very satisfying. And it feels like you kind of reach that point where you're starting to make it in your life. So a lot of players can really use that as motivation. So shout out to the Royals for winning their last game. I don't know if you guys had a chance to investigate, or I know their game wasn't posted yet, right? Am I wrong? Or was it?
Yeah, there's no stats up or anything. I tried to go check.
I know they have. I know they
And
recorded it. They have their own little machine that they use, which Amy showed me a couple clips from it. Super dope what that thing can do. By the way, I forget what
Yeah,
they
it
call
is.
it, but it does stats. It does what do you call it? Highlights. It's the angle
Yep.
they put it at is really cool. I've always wanted to get a higher tripod because I prefer a higher up angle where you're kind of somewhat looking down a little bit. I don't like our angle of looking straight onto the court. I never been a fan of that. But I never took the time out to find a tripod that goes up high enough to make that happen. Um, but I want to now that I saw those clips from their. I think it's Pixelot. I think.
Yeah, I
Am I making
see.
that up?
Yeah, a lot of football and soccer players use it too. I've seen a lot of commercials on it. It tracks, like you said, it tracks statistics. It also tracks other stuff. I'm pretty sure it tracks like the time of the player on the court. It's pretty like AI ran pretty much. It's like damn near anything you need to track, it will track it for you.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. It keeps track of the scoreboard too. If it could see it, it will always try to zoom into the scoreboard. It's pretty dope what
Yeah.
that thing does. So I assume they're gonna use that footage and post it here soon. So I'd love to watch that game to see what the Florida Tropics look like. But as most teams in the past, they didn't look too good. Teams usually tend to come here to Polk County and not have a very fun time. Everybody except the Silverbacks, if y'all remember. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't got much to say about the Royals game. If you guys got anything to add, let me know.
so some things I'm able to find. I don't know specifics here, but it looks like the playoffs start March 6th to the 8th, the division quarterfinals and semifinals. And in that case, they play second in their division, 9-4. Florida Tropics went 10-3, so they're right there. I would expect them to be in the playoffs. The final of the championship doesn't happen until April 10th to the 12th, so we'll probably have some more information here, probably by next episode, I would say.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep up as best as I can. I'm very interested to see how that happens. I know last year they did not. They did not bring us back for playoffs. So I don't know if we'll be back there for playoffs. I don't know how the playoffs works. I'm assuming because they're the lower seed between them and the Tropics. I think that's what happened. I think they had to travel for their first playoff game. I think I remember now. And that's why we didn't do the playoffs for them, or at least I didn't do the playoffs for them last year. So it's possible they'll be in the same situation this year, but I guess we'll see. I'll find out from Amy. I'm gonna wait at least 48 hours though. I feel bad for missing the game, so I'm gonna let it simmer down a little bit.
Apologize. Well, that is, Amy. If you ever do watch this, I dropped the ball there. I'll take full accountability for that too. Yeah. Also, on the ABA website, I'm reading it now. It does say the final four will be April 10th and 12th. That's the championship. The weekend.
Okay.
So that's going to be in Atlanta.
It is in Atlanta.
So I'm assuming maybe it's gonna be whoever wins between the Royals and Tropics. Maybe that's how it works. How many teams are in that division?
They're the only ones in that division, but they're not the only ones in that region.
Ah, right.
So there is also going to be a region championship as well.
Right, okay.
And honestly, looking at the region, listen, I'm gonna talk some shit here. I really do think that they have a high possibility of winning. Their issue that they will have to overcome is the Silverbacks with Jarvis. But I'm gonna say it. I do think it's possible looking at the region. I think that some of these teams that we've seen play, I think that they're better than. I mean, I know that they're better. They beat them. What am I saying? What the hell?
Yeah, I think they definitely have a chance. I think they came up short last year. Definitely would have preferred to go further, but I think this year is definitely an opportunity. Breaking news: they did lose a player though. Alex Torrey is no longer a part of the Royals.
Bless you.
I couldn't mute myself for the first sneeze, but I got myself for the second one. Couldn't get there in time, but yeah, they lost Alex Torrey, who was found a home on the Kissimmee lands for the TBL, and he was unable to finish the season off with the Royals. It looks like there was some availability issues there that happened, and the Royals had to make a decision. And that's actually the last thing I wanted to talk about before we move on to the next topic. I'll try my best to make it short, but I'll be rambling by mistake. But I wanted to give a lot of credit to Amy. Something that she does, and a lot of teams that succeed at this semi-pro level do, that I really want to get better at, and that I can fully understand I need to, that I'm not the greatest at, is the disciplinary aspect of being a team owner. It's something that I struggle with for so many reasons, because it's like, it's not easy to get players. You know what I mean? It's not easy to replace a player that contributes so much. And even if it's a player that might see the end of the bench more often, it's just, we need everybody at all times. You know what I mean? Because you just never know when somebody's not available. You just never know when it's somebody's turn to step up, next man mentality. So, it's very hard to, for me, I'll say, it's very hard to follow up on some disciplinary action sometimes. It's hard to tell a player, we're gonna have to let you go. You're not showing up enough. You know what I mean? You're not coming to practices, or you're late to games, or whatever the case may be. It is difficult sometimes for me. But I want to shout out to Amy and a lot of these other semi-pro team owners who have the ability to be that leader and say, listen, these are the standards you have to meet. You know what I mean? These are the rules that you have to abide by. If you can't do that, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? If you're dropping 30 and 20 for us, we can't treat you any special just because. You know what I mean? We can't just put you out on the court with players who are showing up every single night, every single practice, playing their hardest, trying to earn their spot on the team, trying to earn minutes on the floor. We can't just put you out there when you were an hour late to practice, when you couldn't make it to practice 2 weeks ago, when you didn't show up for warm-ups. We told you to be here at 5, you showed up at 5:30. We told you to be here at 5:30, you showed up at 6. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very hard to go out there and say that and hold players accountable to a certain degree, and that's an aspect that I need to improve on. And I wanted to just give a shout out to Amy, because if availability was the issue, she stood her ground and said, listen, you do a lot for us, but at the end of the day, I have to hold you to the same standards as I hold anybody else on this team. You gotta go. You're just not available for us. And we appreciate what you do when you show up, but you're not showing up to the degree of the standard that we set. You know what I mean? So, like, shout out to Amy for having that discipline in her and that ability to be that type of leader. Because speaking for myself, it is difficult. And that's something that I believe that if once I improve fully, I'm making improvements step by step, I think the Serpents are going to reach another level, because I think that accountability and discipline makes a difference within a successful organization and a non-successful organization.
I would agree with that. I think not only that, she also did a very good job of preparing for the worst with that team, for anything that could come up. That team is deep. The team is deep with a ton of different people filling a ton of different positions. The only concern that I have, I'm not saying that it was a bad decision to make. I think you have to make the decision. Jeremiah Zitz is really their only big now. You are kind of putting a lot of weight on one person. So I don't know how the ABA specifically works this late in the season, because playoffs are starting. I wonder if they can add to that, but I think that's something that they do need is, another presence down low, somebody that can kind of anchor that defense like Jeremiah does, and then also like Alex Torrey does, who you're now missing. I hope they can make some additions to kind of change that. Because we talked about him a lot. We talked about him every game. His rebounding ability, his ability to defend the paint, the dunks that he was hitting, like everything was very helpful to that team. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. But shout out to them, man. I think they'll figure it out at the end of the day, though. But I just wanted to give that quick shout out to Amy for having that discipline in her. Moving on to our next game of the weekend, simple exhibition game between my Serpents and simple exhibition game between my Serpents and the visiting Florida Jaguars. We were able to come out with the win there, 111-96. But when it comes to my Serpents, I'm always going to talk my shit. The score does not tell the full story. Let me tell you, that fourth quarter was pretty lazy. I think guys came out and kind of goofed around a little more than we should have, and the lead sort of started dwindling down, and then we picked it back up again to finish off the fourth quarter, so we were able to get it by 15 there. But I mean, that second half was one hell of a story for the Jaguars to tell to their hometown when they get back, because we was fucking them up. Let me tell you that. Let me tell you that much. But shout out to Phil Wells. He has made it very clear he wants me to address him as Wells going forward, so I will do that as best as I can. Shout out to Phil, though. Shout out to Peasy, as he likes to call himself. He's made a debut for the Serpents, and one hell of a debut it was. Let me tell you. Phil did play a game with the Serpents our first season, but I'm going to just erase that from history. Didn't go too well. Both sides couldn't come to an agreement on what Phil's role needed to be that year. But we've decided to, how they say, spin the block and retry this again. I do believe Phil is a very good player. I'm crossing my fingers. I don't make rotation decisions. I don't make role decisions. I'm here to make phone calls and sign papers. You know what I mean? That's all I'm here for. Send emails, all that good stuff. So I'm hoping that Phil's role on the team is what I expect it to be, because I think he's a very versatile player, and I think that versatility is going to be very big for us. Phil went crazy. I'm pretty sure he had at least 30. Phil was
close, if not.
Yeah, Phil was going so crazy that the other team was just consistently saying, find zero. He's their only shooter. They want to give zero the ball. I'm just looking at them like, yo, you're right. You are right.
You're right.
we do. I'm like, the coach is on the sideline talking about find zero, and I'm there holding the camera like, yes, guys, find zero, find him, please. I'm talking about us. offensively. Please find zero. We need to get him the ball again, because man, Phil was going crazy. He had at least 30. He was knocking down threes left and right, man. First half, bro, he had a play that I was able to clip up, bro. I'm gonna post it this week. Somebody threw a lob. It wasn't like a lob for a dunk. I don't think. Maybe it was. I don't know. I know Phil can get up though, but I don't know if that was the idea behind it. I think it was just a lob, just for the sake of getting the pass through. But man, it was a bad lob, and Phil was able to catch that and lay it up. Man, that was such a clean highlight, bro. That he caught that in the air. Bad pass, in my personal opinion, and he was able to save the layup and get it in, bro. I'm like, oh my God, Phil, this is not the GM5 Phil I remember. But shout out to Phil, bro. He went crazy. He had a phenomenal game. Played great defense. Definitely our player of the game. And the last player I want to give credit to before I let you guys give your 2 cents is Rick. Rick. If anybody, if anybody was fucking anybody up, it was Rick. Let me tell you, Rick it was Shaq down there. Oh my God, Rick was just hobbling a couple weeks ago at our tryouts because he had a knee injury. Just a few weeks ago, maybe the beginning of February, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm thinking this man's gonna be out here sluggish and playing, kind of lazy because he's recovering.
He was moving.
No, man. Let me tell you, bro. There was one play, bro. We had some nice ass ball movement and ended up with a dump off to Rick, under the rim, bro. That motherfucker went up and fucking broke that rim in half. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? You was just that man was just fucking what's the word? Not hobbling. Whatever, limping. That man was just limping at our tryouts. I'm like, man, and then he had a spin.
He's limping in this game.
No, but yeah, he was.
And he is limping. Unless that's the way he walks.
No, it is. Limping is a natural state of mind. He has some bad knees, unfortunately. No, all jokes aside, he does have some bad knees, unfortunately. But
that sucks.
but yeah, he had one post up man spin into a dunk. I'm like, what the fuck, Rick, man? And then
that's a big boy too. Gee, that's a big.
He's not even that tall. You know what I mean? Like to be pulling off the dunks he's pulling off. He's like 6'7". You know what I mean? Which is obviously tall. But I'm not. You think of when he's pulling off the dunks that he's pulling off. When he's pulling off the dunks that he's pulling off, you expect him to be like 6'9", 6'10". You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a power drill.
No, like he's coming off 2 feet and just slamming the fuck out of the ball. I'm like, golly, bro.
Jesus
nobody on this team is even close to his size though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like he's playing against me.
Their heights are all the same. Hold on. Their heights are not the same, but the width of a lot of these players are the same.
But also the heights are pretty similar. They're all like they're not that tall. Like he is just a monster compared to them. This is what early 2000 Shaq looked like. Genuinely. They're gonna hire big men to go against you guys.
He got fouled on a free throw shot.
Is Jamarcus is on this team too though?
Yeah.
I just pieced it together. All right, yeah, on this team, he doesn't shoot. Yeah.
Jamarcus has always been on the Serpents.
Well,
I
didn't know you had people on the Serpents and the Vipers. I forgot about that. Yeah, he needs to be more aggressive. I don't see him shooting. I forgot that he was on this team. I'm rewatching it right now.
Bro, he brings the ball up and then gives it to Lindsay like maybe 4 or 5. I'm not even, you got one. It doesn't matter. But just gives it to Lindsay as soon as he brings it up. And then Lindsay creates.
James is going to shoot. That's why. James is going to shoot every single time. And he's going to make it a lot. But he's
back in my youth, me and James used to go at it. Back in my youth,
What is going at it? Like, are you also hitting the shots?
I was hitting my shots back in the day.
I gotta make sure. Because I trust James to do him.
No, I was doing me. I mean, if James
I have a very limited experience of watching you hoop. Very limited.
If James you're gonna get to see me in my prime, Tyler. But if James had 6 points, I would have like 4 or 5. But James is also like a real Division II basketball player. Like he's an actual collegiate. He knows his spots. Like James doesn't go to different spots. Like he knows his spots on the court, where to shoot. So I will give him credit for that 100%. I was
half
never.
The time it's him on the floor because I mean, don't ever get the I just see him on his back.
Yeah, I never got to play collegiately.
Yeah, but it was one hell of a game though. I wanted to tell a short little story about Rick though, and how he ended up on the Serpents. He played with us our second season, and we had an exhibition game against the Alafaya Kings. I think they went by a different name at the time. Um, and he was their big man, right? So, we played that game. We were a little undermanned, but the Alafaya Kings were still kind of figuring it out, you know what I mean? So Rick was pretty much their best player. And, it was a blowout. But Rick, if you were to watch Rick's highlights from that game, you would have to assume they blew us out because you would just assume that man just took over. You know what I mean? And that's what it felt like. Even though we're up 30 and 40 at different points in the game, it felt like, golly, man, like, that feeling of, like, we're up big, but, like, I'm sick and tired of watching this guy score so easily on us. Like, he's making us look bad, even though we're up 40. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how good Rick was. Like, he made us look
Wow.
bad, even though we won the game by 20, 25, 30, whatever the case it may have been, right? And,
Yeah.
he was dunking everything, every fucking board. He was killing us because I think we didn't have. I want to say
Oh,
maybe
I
we
saw
did.
the layup alley oop you talked about. Sorry, fire.
Yeah, I want to say we didn't have Big Main that day. I know Berto was injured. He helped coach on the sideline that day. I remember that. So we were understaffed, and Rick, he took advantage for sure. Unfortunately, his teammates did not that day. So, like, the first thing after that game was finished is Coach D came up to me. He's like, "We need to talk to that guy." I was like, "I'm way ahead of you." I was like, "I'm way ahead of you," and then shows up to practice that same weekend, and the rest is history. He started with
Fire.
us in the FBA. So Rick hopefully is going to be a serpent faithful going forward. I cross my fingers because it's a tandem that's difficult to handle. Between him and Big Main because those are two big guys that just are hard to stop from scoring.
Manage. Just manage.
And Big Man could shoot pretty well from the perimeter. I haven't seen Rick do it as much, but I know that they're offering something a little different from each of them offensively, and that's tough to kind of position because they're huge. They're fucking massive.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah.
men. Those are grown men.
Imagine having both of them on the floor at the same time.
Yeah, that's listen. When I look at that, that's peak male performance right there. I'm not gonna lie.
Jurassic Park intro just starts playing if they're both on the court.
Yeah.
Man,
Big guys.
but yeah, that was a fun game though. The Jaguars kind of picked it up there towards the end of the fourth quarter, or just the fourth quarter in general. Started knocking down a lot of threes, and our guys started playing a little sluggish. So they got it a little closer than I would have preferred. I think at least I want to say maybe even like a 12-point deficit. It got down to.
Listen. He's talking about them cutting the lead from 30 to 14. That's what he's,
Yeah,
that's what
bro.
he's
I'm
upset about.
watching the
They
first
cut the
quarter,
lead
bro.
from
This
from
team
30
has no
to 14,
business.
and he's
Yeah.
gonna nitpick here. 30
Nah,
to
there's
14.
nothing to nitpick here. You guys whooped their ass, dog. I'm watching from the first quarter, 21 to 9.
Nas is like we beat their ass in the second half. The first half they're up by 20. What the fuck?
In the first quarter, they're up
What are we
21 to
talking about
9.
here? And this isn't a knock on the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars played very well. I just think that like they defended you
Times.
guys very, very well. Other than Phil, which is weird to say because if they kept saying 5-0 and I keep seeing him open on the perimeter, I don't understand what's happening. That part's a little confusing. Everything else though, I think that they did well defending. It just Rick is a grown man.
Yeah. I will say this about Peasy or Wells. I will say this about him. He has this knack of like kind of like I know his personality isn't someone you can put in a room and he's gonna get along with everybody. But hear me when I transition. His basketball skill set allows him to play with a lot of different styles of basketball. He's kind of like a jack of all trades. So like when you guys are saying find zero, I can see because I wasn't really worried about. I'm looking at Nick. I'm looking at these other aggressive Uber guys, and then Phil's just there, open, just wide open. Like he has this knack of just kind of just blending in with the teams he plays with, and I just want to shout him out for that because he did really well playing with these players. You know, this game.
I think we
I'm
need to
watching
take
him.
some time to just revisit your whole understanding of the term uber athletic because you're just using it for every small
I
point
didn't
guard you can
use
think
Uber
of.
athletic.
You just
I
said
didn't
uber
use
athletic.
Yeah, you did.
Well, he's
Am
Uber
I uber
athletic.
athletic? Am I?
No, Tyler, you are complete
I,
opposites, and so am I, Tyler. We're both on
No,
the
no,
other
it's.
end of uber
We've
I didn't
reached
have
the
athletic.
double
point.
check. You kind of giving it to everyone. I was hoping I kind of qualified at that point.
We've reached the point he doesn't even realize he's saying it now. That's just his description for every
Yeah, I didn't
basketball
notice I
player.
said it. I'm not gonna lie. I think I was chasing words at
Yeah,
the
you
time,
just
but
called
my,
Nick
my
uber athletic.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man,
But
that
either
takes
way,
my
though,
edge
yeah,
off.
I agree.
Welcome back to the podcast.
I agree 100% though. I think Phil. I think that's the main reason why I really wanted to get Phil on the team, and I really want him to, maintain his composure for as long as he can, because I think he's very. I think, like you said, he's a jack of all trades. He can contribute in so many areas. Areas. I'm sorry. I think he's an underrated playmaker. I'm not sure if we ever really talk about that too often. I think he's a very underrated
Yeah, he is
playmaker.
very underrated.
I think he's very poised when he has the ball in his hands, and very rarely is he worried about taking a step back or a side step. And when he takes it, he takes it. You can allow players to do that as long as they're playing the majority of the game the correct way. You know what I mean? And I think he does that. He's got some bounce to him. When he locks in, he's a great defender. He's a phenomenal shooter. Another thing that maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say underrated, but I don't think it's spoken about enough. I think Phil has built a reputation for himself where it's like people underestimate the fact that like this guy can play basketball. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Very well.
very
Very
well.
well.
Yeah. So like Phil is a very
Remember
good
last
player.
season, we went back and we redid the stats for GM5 because we saw that the shooter was a little off, and he was a top 5 shooter for majority of the season, like a lot of attempts on a
On a
good
really,
amount of
really
attempts.
not that well coached or ran team, he still did his thing. And I mean, I will say this: a lot of people like get mad at his antics, but like, man, now that I see how good he really is, maybe he has a reason to be bad. Maybe he
What?
has a reason to blow up.
Well,
Let me not.
What
Let
does
me
he
not do
mean?
that. Let me not do that. Let me not
I
do
don't
that.
know.
His next game.
Listen,
get a report.
when you're that uber athletic, bro, you have every right to explode. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you just expled by walking. At that point.
Tweet these out.
No, but yeah, I mean,
I can't
shout
wait
out
till
to
I'm considered uber athletic. I can't wait.
shout out to Phil though. He did a great job. We were missing Jalen and Christian, which were the other two players that originally were supposed to be able to make it. We got our times mixed up, and the game was supposed to start a little earlier, so I think that caused Jalen and Christian not to be available. But luckily, the guys who showed up, they showed up. You know, they did their best. And it was a fun game, man. I'm hoping that we can set some stuff up for March. Hopefully we can visit some teams. Because I'm trying to save on all these exhibition expenses as much as I can. But we'll see, man. We'll see what roster we end up with at the end of it all, and what we go into the FBA season looking like. But I really want this to be the year. You know what I mean? Crossing my fingers. I really want this to be the year. It would suck for it to be the year and Berto's not around, but he's been very supportive. He's always in the chat. He's always at our community service events. He's always at practices. He can't lace him up or else he'll get in trouble. But he's there. You know what I mean? He's giving the guys feedback. He's helping the guys out. And the Lambs, they were kind enough to allow Berto to participate in activities as long as they were not on court basketball activities. They understand the value of what Berto brings to the table and who he is for our franchise. So shout out to the Lambs, man, for stealing him but allowing us to borrow him. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But speaking of the Lambs, go ahead. Oh, you saying
I
something?
love that for you guys though. Having a player like
co-owning
Berto.
Berto.
No facts.
Yeah,
They do that
I love that for you guys though. Like having a player like Berto, like I can see now in the future you having like some type of like Spurs like alumni type of vibe the way you're building everything. So I love that Berto's like one of those like you would say like Tim Duncan kind of guys like just comes around. He's always there for you when you need him. I think that's a pretty positive person to have for your organization. Now it's pretty dope find for you. I will say that because I don't see any other players doing that like you do, like he does for you.
Yeah,
I see with the flight only. It's an FBA thing, I think. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that there's definitely I don't want to discredit anybody. I think there's definitely players who are very faithful to the teams that they started with in the semi-pro scene, or not started with, but I guess once they joined, they stuck around. You know what I mean? Like the Royals definitely have some too. But either way, shout out to Berto, man, for always being there for us in whatever capacity he can be. But speaking of the Lambs, though, short little tidbit here, not much to talk about, but they did have their gala, which we were invited to. Tyler, unfortunately, um, was sick, and then Pluto had some shit going on. I think he called it work or something, whatever the fuck that is. So he was unable to
He has a
make it.
son now. All of a sudden,
Yeah,
I don't know
all of a
where
sudden
that
he
came
has a
from.
son that we haven't heard about. So I'm sorry, Drake. I'm
Yo.
sorry, Drake. Oh, what is it? I'm not hiding my son from the world. I'm hiding my world from my son, man. Man,
Hey,
stop it.
guys.
I'm
Stop
I'm
hiding.
it.
gonna go get him right now.
Stop it. But either way,
It's my weekend. I'm getting him right now.
the Lambs Gala happened this past Friday. Make sure y'all go to YouTube at Kissimmee Lambs to check it out, man. They had some good press there. It was a really cool environment, really cool setup, man. Every player that came up to me to say hi to me, man, made me. I don't know, man. I'm not even gonna front. Like it just made me feel special. You know what I mean? Like there's players who I don't even necessarily speak to very often. Like somebody like Trent, I'm not even positive I've ever shared an exchange of words with Trent. I'm not gonna lie to you. Maybe a hi and bye, maybe a simple question at one point in my life. But like he comes up to me. He daps me up like he knows me, man. I love that. You know what I mean? AJ came up to me. What's his name? Greg came up to me. Kenny Long. You know what I mean? Like I was sitting down at a table with Liam, man. We chopped it up about the Lambs exhibition game. We talked about that. You know what I mean? Just overall, it was such a cool experience to see those players, and just the simple idea of them recognizing me. Keith came up to me, and I forgot to bring all those All-Star jerseys. Man, I could have gave it to all of them. I'm so dumb too, bro. I got home and saw the box. Yeah, bro. I came home and saw the box. I was like, fuck. I could have gave all of them their All-Star jerseys that night. Damn. But excuse me. All around, man. I wanted to just share that moment for me was very special with all those players coming up to me because I know how I am and how antisocial I can come up and come off and how much I have a resting bitch face all the time. So, the fact that these players see me from what I've been doing in the community and from what I've been doing in the area and be like, yo, that's Nas, let me go say hi to him, you know what I mean? That does mean a lot. So I don't know. I want to, whoever watches this, you know what I mean? Whoever does take the time out, I appreciate you for showing love because it does mean a lot to me. But overall, I didn't want to say much about the Lambs thing because I know you guys weren't able to make it. So just overall, kind of quick understanding of what was happening. Really cool. They had player interviews, very similar to like what do they call those in the NBA? Like the press. What are they? What are they like?
It's press day, like a press day.
Press day. Yeah, like, it was
Media
pretty
day.
cool. Media day, yeah, kind of like that without the whole picture aspect of it. But really cool. Players would go up there to the podium, man. They would go get an interview there. The new voice of the Kissimmee Lambs, Rob Dietz, by the way, who anybody who follows FBA basketball, he's been the voice of the FBA for a few years now. He's going to be the voice of the Lambs. He's out there, interviewing them. Players get a chance to really speak their mind and give their expectations. That was super dope. Obviously they had a dinner, bomb. Let me tell you, bomb. That pork, pernil. For those of you, for my Spanish people, man, that shit was fire. The potato salad, oh my god, bomb. Oh my god. But it's not about the food. I think I don't want to botch her name, man. I'm gonna cross my fingers and say I got this right, but I think it's Michelle. I think it's Michelle Liendo. Ah man, I hope I got it right, man. But she's gonna be a reporter for the Kissimmee Lambs. She has history with the MLB. She does their Spanish side of things, or she works with their Spanish side of things. She's all over. I follow her on my Serpents page, so I be seeing her all the time, man. She's gonna be the voice for them on the Spanish side of things. Tyler was just talking about before we started the podcast.
Yeah, I
Go
was
ahead.
telling you about her in the group chat the other day. The on the court analyst that they had.
Yeah. That might be it.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say you were just mentioning before we started the podcast about how their production is so much, high caliber, different camera angles, interviews on the side, analysts. The Lambs, man, they have so much happening, and it's super dope. You know what I mean? It's super dope. It's amazing how they're putting this together. The opportunity that they're providing to Central Florida with being a real deal professional basketball team. These guys are getting paid to practice, paid to play, This is a real deal experience. So Edgar freaking caught me by surprise and pulled me up to the fucking stage to speak. So thank God that they weren't live
What?
at that point. Yeah, thank God they weren't live at that point. But I'm gonna say here on the podcast the same thing that I was saying on the stage, man, because it's the only thing I could possibly think of in that moment. Y'all got to get behind the Lambs because I genuinely believe, and this is coming from me being a semi-pro team owner myself. I can tell you wholeheartedly, I believe the Lambs are the next big thing in Central Florida, and I think if they can just get the backing from a community, if they can create a fan base, a real deal fan base of people who are going to consistently watch, consistently follow, comment, like, share everything, that's the next step for them. They're doing everything they can to make the experience for the players great. They're contributing to their community as much as they can. They're obviously organized by a whole church, right? With IBCK, so they're doing everything right. If the fans, and I'm telling y'all here, if y'all fans can just watch, engage, and support, and be there for the Lambs, man, there's no telling the opportunities the Lambs would have to offer here. And Edgar said it himself. He wants to make the Lambs an international team. You know what I mean? So just to imagine the Lambs taking this roster to play in some sort of, let's say Venezuelan league, just because of Edgar's roots, right? Or to go play in some sort of small event in China, for example. You know what I'm saying? Like, the opportunities are endless for what the Lambs could do for basketball, and for the community. So get behind them, support them. I believe the Lambs are going to be the next big thing in basketball here in Central Florida. And man, I want to be like the Lambs when I grow up. That's what I'm going to say. I want to be like the Lambs when I
Yeah,
grow up.
yeah,
What Nas said is right though. When it comes to supporting us, it's the same thing as supporting Atleta. It's very simple. If you cannot make it to the games, go to their page, like a video that you've watched, leave a quick little comment every once in a while, share it with some people. I'm telling you, it is something so small, but it affects the algorithm so much by seeing people engage on these videos. It helps. It spreads the videos a lot more. More eyes will see it, and we get more opportunities in Central Florida. Eyes on Central Florida helps everybody. The more people that are looking at this area, the more teams that we're going to see, the more leagues that'll open up, the more opportunity for everybody, the
it
opportunity
all
for
trickles.
growth
Yeah,
across the world for everybody. Central
yeah,
Florida is not really known that much right now. The reality is we're known for Disney, but we could be known for basketball.
yeah,
Like we could be known for sports, but like you guys have to just put a small effort of liking a video, sharing it, showing it to people, putting it on the background when you're not doing anything. That's all
yeah.
you have to do.
I want to
Hmm.
second that with what Tyler said. I mean, Florida's like when it comes to like people living in a state, we have like the most people living in the state. One of the biggest states in America. So like um, what he's saying is true. The trickle effect is true. I mean, everybody eats. I feel like I've been part of enough of these. Like, let's say the GM5. We've been part of that enough to see the change of how a community backs something up. To see more players show up, better players show up, more talent show up, competitiveness go up, and that's a big thing with these leagues. I think lack of having that fan aspect can really take away from the fact that you have some high level basketball players in your face and they can change your community. They can change the economy in the community. They can open up job opportunities. It's just deeper than like just basketball at the end of the day. And because like Nas never says what he says. He never says I want to be like somebody else. Nas is a original thinker. So the fact that he's saying he wants to be like the Lambs one day, it tells me everything I need to know. Dude's a super professional dude. He's pretty big on the moves he makes. Nothing's not detailed with Nas. So if he's seeing something that we didn't get to see, it's true, and I'll back him up with that. I trust him with stuff like that on the professional stage.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Lambs as well, they did add some additional players, which Tyler was so kind to mention there, and two new players. I know one of them I've recognized from their. I think he played with them in the past, but we'll talk about the first one here. And I know Tyler has already taken the time out to kind of read up on him a little bit. So Tyler, you could tell us a little bit more about our first player announced here. Sherwood Brown will be joining the Lambs
I mean,
for the TBL season.
FGCU, Florida Gulf Coast. He played for them. I want you to keep this in mind, like how prestigious All Pro is when it comes to high school, All American. I'm sorry, AP All
Oh,
American in high school. There's the three teams, first, second, and third team. That's across the entire country. This guy received an honorable mention vote for that. He was just outside of being one of the 15 best players throughout the entire country.
it's
And he
crazy.
may have been because there's position limitations as well. So sometimes there's centers that get in or forwards that may not be needed. He was right there. Like he is insane. He brought them to I believe it's two Sweet 16 finishes as well.
Wow.
The first time that they've ever done that. Averaged 20 points a game throughout the tournament. Like he's a big player to add to this team.
Real quick,
He's
Tyler,
big.
was he a part of that Dunk City team when they got called Dunk City?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about then. That
Yes.
dude is nasty.
That's what I'm
That
saying,
dude is
bro.
nasty. That dude is
Listen,
nasty.
I'm full
Yeah,
on glazing like I always do.
he was inducted into their Hall of Fame this year, or no, sorry, last year. He was inducted into
Fire.
FGCU Hall of Fame, and this comes from the from the recent announcement of them adding Jermaine Taylor. So they're really adding some big time names here. I don't know. I don't know if I saw him. I don't think I did. I believe I saw Jermaine Taylor, but I don't think I saw him there at the gala. It was dark though, a very dark room. But shout out to the Lambs, man. They're really and this is another aspect of this before we move on to the next player that I think is underrated. Is this is putting a lot of these guys that are up and coming, right? Like the Birdos of the world, like the Mellows and whatnot, that are looking to continue and get different opportunities. This is putting them in a really good spot because they're learning from seasoned veterans that have
Oh,
played basketball at the highest level possible. You know what I'm saying? Like FGCU is a big time school. Like not too long ago they had a I don't know. You guys tell me. I don't think this was the same. I don't think he was on that same team, but FGCU not a few years back had a really good run in the NCAA tournament where they were winning games that people did not think they were going to win. This was a little while ago, so I'm going to assume he wasn't a part of that. But FGCU has some really good history. You know what I mean? We talk about Jermaine Taylor, his experience in the NBA, being one of the best players in UCF history. It developing this type of example, or I'm sorry, this type of how can I say influence from these guys is big time for players who are trying to reach these heights and reach these type of overseas success and professional success. That's a very underrated thing that I feel like we haven't really touched on is how that impact will kind of trickle down to those players. Even Keith himself, I think, fits the role as well. You know what I mean? Another UCF legend as well. And I do forget his name, but the Lambs have an assistant coach who has a very large rap sheet over there in Venezuela as well. Unfortunately, I forget his name, but
6'8" fellow though. He's huge. He's a big dude. 6'8", 6'9", I think, right?
yeah, he's definitely tall. He's probably about that tall. Yeah, he's probably around there. Yeah, yeah. So that's even from the coaching perspective, they're adding players who
Professionals.
or people who are professionals and can bring that type of influence and that type of development to these guys who are trying to become something in their professional careers as soon as possible. So I think that's a very underrated aspect of what the Lambs are doing. So shout out to them.
Two things. Are you talking about the FGCU team that was 15th and they were knocking out everyone in the Sweet 16?
Yeah,
Are you talking about that? That's
Yeah,
them.
they got
That's
the
them.
official name called. They named them Dunk
Yeah.
City because they kept
Yeah.
dunking it.
that's the same
That's
team.
that team. That's that
Yeah.
team.
Okay, yeah, that's
But
why I
also
got
he's a
hyped,
champion
'cause I know who they are.
overseas.
Yeah,
He won over in Lebanon as well. So you come over with
he's a
championship
pro.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a pro's pro. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fire.
Yeah, that's dope
That's
that
what
they
I'm
were
saying.
able to get a player like that of this caliber. And then another player announced for them is the 7 footer that I was asking Tyler about. I don't know if I asked on the podcast or off the podcast, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he was with them last year because I remember his face, and he's 7 feet. That's for damn sure because I stood next to him. I was like, yeah, you definitely 7 feet tall. God damn. But Ronald Delph, Tyler, did you have an opportunity to educate yourself on Mr. Ronald?
Yeah, he leads. Oh, sorry, I had it. Where was it? Let me go back and check. He's third in rebounds and third in block, I believe, for his college.
Yeah, FAU.
Uh, Yeah, I apologize. I don't have this. I
That's
just did.
also not
Oh
a
wait,
bad
they called it
Hey,
basketball
off the
listen.
move.
post.
Let's read
Yeah,
it. Let's read it word for word. Let's just give him the props he
call it out
deserves. All
there.
right. Let's say he was a significant center for FAU. For some reason that's in parentheses. Ranking third in school history and career rebounds with 636 and blocks with 168. Playing from 2015 to 2018, earning All Conference USA honors in 2018 and achievement career high in points 24 and rebounds 12. While leading the Owls in scoring with 15 points per game his senior season, he was known for strong shooting at 52% from the field and interior presence, helping the Owls achieve their best season in years during his final year at that school. Um, and it kind of just repeats some of this more. And then he played in different places. He played in Lithuania. He played in the NBL in Canada. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the NBL. Pretty big professional league up there. Played in England, excuse me, Venezuela, Mexico, Taiwan, Mongolia, Indonesia, and China. So he another player with a rap sheet, that
Jesus.
goes on for days. Shout out to Mr. Ronald Delth, as they called him in the post. But 7-footer, that's gonna be big time for them. Tyler, did you say you didn't see him at the exhibition game?
No. The only centers that I saw play that day were Liam and Keith.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
may have been there sitting down the bench, but they never announced him either. I
Okay.
never heard that.
Yeah. To clarify your doubt from last time, yeah, Berto wasn't there. It was actually at James's wedding. It was the same day.
Oh,
So
it's so beautiful. Shout out James.
yeah, I spoke with Liam a little bit. It's the last thing I'll say about this before we move on to our last topic. I spoke with Liam a little bit at the gala. He mentioned how that Texas team was very well coached. They had defensive sets for screens, and they would call out different sets and coverages that they would run. And the team was doing a really good job of getting themselves in the positions they were supposed to get themselves into to cover the play the correct way. And he said he gave them credit for being young, athletic. Had a lot of energy and. But of course, in typical competitive fashion, he said if the Lambs were more prepared for that, they definitely would have had the opportunity to win that. So they play them today. I don't know what time, but they play them today. Same team. I believe they're going to be visiting them, and this is going to be the first official game of TBL, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so we'll see how that goes. I'm really intrigued to see how it goes for them. But overall, man, shout out to the Lambs. Before we move on to the last topic, I'll say it again, man. Support them. I think they're going to be the next big thing in Central Florida basketball, possibly even just Florida basketball in general. So do your
I can
best to
imagine.
follow
I'm not
them.
even kidding.
Follow them on all platforms. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Do all those little things. Takes no time at all to show that little bit of love. That's going to help them grow and get them the exposure that they need to really help our basketball community excel. Because I think the Lambs are going to do big things. But moving on to our last topic of the day, man, Volusia County legend had to save the best for last. I want to talk about this guy, man, because he deserves it. Blake Hinson, ladies and gentlemen, has made himself into a NBA roster. I've had the luxury of having Blake Hinson play for a Serpents team, not specifically the Serpents, but Serpents weren't active at the time. But he was willing to suit up for us, man, and just go out there and just show us, what it means to be an NBA player. He's been a journeyman in the G League, playing for a couple different teams, trying to find his opportunity, and the Utah Jazz finally gave it to him. He's been coming off the bench for the most part so far in his tenure. You 1 second. I apologize. Thank you. And finally got his first start, ladies and gentlemen. Blake Hinson as an NBA starter, man. Just think about that, bro. A kid from Deltona, an NBA starter. You know what I'm saying? That's
Gives me
dope, man.
goosebumps.
And I don't know him, you know what I mean, from his younger days in Volusia County, man. But I feel like I do. Blake, he's one thing I'll tell you about Blake, 100%, man. He is such a humble kid, and I'll tell a little story about him. And then we can talk about his NBA career so far. He came to play for us, right? Because he was in town, he had nothing to do. He was getting ready to leave soon, so he wanted to get some reps and get on the court and do his thing. You know what I mean? Do a little scrimmaging basically for him, for his standards, basically. And he played the whole weekend with us, right? So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come Sunday, he had some things going on, so he got to the game a little late. So obviously, one thing uh, that we try our hardest to do is always stay disciplined, right? I just talked about how I got to get better with discipline. I got to get better with overall, holding players accountable, right? So um, we didn't know if Blake was going to be able to make it or not. He wasn't responding to his text, but he had a busy day or whatever, right? So I just decided what our starting lineup was going to be, right? So and I told everybody what our starting lineup was going to be. Blake gets there late in time to start the game, but late to the point where I have already discussed with the team what the game plan was, right? Who's starting, what we want to do, blah blah blah, right? So, or not me. I'm sorry. Coach D at the time was over the Vipers fully, and he just decides to stick with his guns and say, oddly enough, we're gonna bring Blake off the bench. He obviously wasn't a huge fan of that, but one thing I wanted to say about Blake is, right after the game, I let him know, like, overall, you don't expect, Blake Hinson to have to come off the bench in the situation that he's in, right? I think we can all understand that's a little, far fetched,
Egregious.
right? Egregious, you know what I mean?
There you
But
go.
I respect decisions that were made. I'm not here to judge anybody for the decisions that they made. And Blake, for the most part, also was very respectful, and that's the part that I want to get to. Is I messaged him. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know, what was happening. I was going back and forth trying to help Mark get the game set up, make sure everything started on time. So I wasn't really paying attention to what was happening on the sideline. And I'm sorry, I didn't know they were going to bring you off the bench. If I knew, I would have definitely stopped that. That's not what I wanted you to come here for. I just wanted you to come out here and do your thing and represent Volusia County to the best of your ability. Blah blah blah, man. And Blake, no ill will whatsoever. He said, "Oh man, I don't care, Coach. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It looks like it was just a last second decision, man. I ain't stressing it whatsoever, man. I appreciate y'all for allowing me to play." And I was like, man, what a kid, man. I mean, he's not a kid. He's in his mid 20s, but what a guy, what a respectful, honorable guy to have that mentality. And I want to encourage anybody, any player who's watching this, to understand that is what separates you from where you are now and making it to that next level at any level. Is that type of simple humbleness to you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is like understanding that nothing is given or nothing is gifted. Everything is earned at the end of the day. You're not given whatever you ask for because you're at a different status than everybody else. You have to earn everything just like everybody else. And just, Blake Hinson, a G League player who's now an NBA starter. I want to say that again. You know what I'm saying? Now an NBA starter, it had the humbleness in him to say, "It's cool, coach. I don't give a damn. I have no issues with it whatsoever. It was a last second decision. I could tell. You know what I mean? I was late. I'm sorry for not texting you back. I had a lot going on. Blah blah blah. Listen, when I come back," and he literally said it, bro, verbatim. "When I'm back in town again, I'm gonna text you, bro. I would love to play for y'all again, man. It was fun." And I'm like, "You don't gotta tell me twice." You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's gonna happen anytime soon. Blake is pursuing much bigger things in his life, and I just wanted to give that story to show you that, you know, that's what it takes. It takes skill. It takes a lot of other aspects that you have to go in and work towards, but it takes discipline too. It takes
Yeah.
humility. You know what I mean? It takes work ethic, and I
Yeah.
loved. I mean, I'll screenshot that shit and send it to y'all, just to show y'all that just the fact that he was so humble about it. I wanted to rave about that for a second because I think he deserves the shout out. But
Yeah.
shout out to Blake for what he's
It,
doing in the
it
NBA.
it comes from his tree though, man. It comes from his tree because, like, if you know anything about Volusia County, you know the Hensons. It's not just Blake. Blake just happened to, become this guy, But this goes back to me growing up with Blake, Chad Brown, Christian Rodriguez, Carlos Rodriguez, rest in peace. You have people like Territory Mayo. You have people who he was under. Even me myself, like, he was under this group of guys that we grew up with. You would say coaches that were tough on us. You have Coach Gioli from D-Land. You have Devin Smalls. I can keep going to people he was under, but these are all people who are community people who are driven. Eddie Green, anybody who was able to put a hand on Blake, it showed. I can keep naming names that are big Volusia County names, but my I'll turn purple, and I don't want to miss anybody who's given to this area. But Blake is a product of this area, and he's a couple, maybe 4 classes below me, so I got to see the growth of Blake go from like a little man to like a little kid to like a grown man, and as a Deltonian, as the president of Deltona, um, I will say, man, the city's happy. I would cry, but I don't want to get too emotional because this is deeper than basketball. These were little kids, and I have DVD players of us playing each other like at my mom's house still. Like this is like I didn't make it, we didn't make it, but he made it. You know what I'm saying? And that's all that matters. When it tells that I'm on the Utah Jazz too. By the way, guys, 10-day contract. But it just feels good though. It feels good. It feels really good that he was able to make this happen, man. And like Nas says, at first he was an NBA player. He's an NBA freaking starter now, bro. A lot of people, like less than 9% of the world, can say I've been an NBA starter. Like, and that's the big ups. And I just
Less
want
than
to
nine
shout him out.
percent. You can go lower, bro. It's less than
yeah,
1%.
yeah,
I'm not good at math.
it's
We all know
much
this.
much lower. How many people you think exist on planet
What
Earth? What the hell?
the hell? There's over
But like
7 billion. We're probably at 8 billion right now.
Yeah, it's less than 1% for
One
sure,
percent
without a
of that's still 80 million.
yeah, bro.
doubt.
I know it's all. I'm joking, but like, man, I know the work that his older brother put in with Blake. I know Evan. Evan is also a phenomenal basketball player. Like, I know the work that was put into this kid, man, and he was shaped very well. He did good, and like Nas says, I mean, humble beginnings, bro. That's all that matters. Humble beginnings.
It's crazy reading about him because we just got the opportunity. Well, me myself just got the opportunity to see him for the first time this summer at Gym 5. It's crazy, like going on like the Utah Jazz subreddit or something, and like people are talking about like really evaluating him and like giving him a chance to see if he fits the lineup, seeing if he could stick with the team. Like it's crazy to see somebody I know being talked about like that. That's
Yeah.
weird.
hmm
Yeah.
It's
I'm
it
not.
is,
Yeah, it
bro.
is.
I'm not
It
used
is
to that.
weird. It like and then like when they dissect his game, something I would have never thought was a weak point for him because I played against him. I would be like, oh, nah, Blake can rebound, but it's a weaker point for him. But you bring him back over here, he's probably the top rebounder in any league he would have been. So it's just like crazy. It's crazy.
That
But
goes
that
to
just
show
lets you
you.
know, yeah, the NBA, like it's just a different level, bro. A different level.
The Trailblazers wanted him back.
hmm
That's the
That's
thing. They
crazy.
wanted to bring him to the actual team, but they didn't.
Yeah, shout out
Yeah,
to
they
him, man.
needed they
He's
need some shooting. He would have been perfect for them too.
And who would have thought the Utah Jazz would finally make a good decision, bro? Because he's been listed as a shooting guard forever, just because of his shooting ability. And I've been trying to tell people like that's just not gonna work long term. And I think that's why he struggled to find a spot because he was on a Lakers G League team. I don't know how much he played there, but I know he played plenty for the Warriors G League team. And then he ended up on the Portland Blazers G League team. And I think he was playing shooting guard for the majority of that. And the Jazz are finally playing him at the small forward with rotations into the shooting guard spot every once in a while. But like he's like 6'8" at least, six
His
seven
natural
maybe.
position,
You know what I
small
mean?
forward. Yeah,
And he's has some weight on him. Like he got to be. In fact, I have it in front of me right now. Yeah, I was gonna say 230. That man's 240. You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro.
yeah, Liddy.
In the big 2026, we talk about that's a shooting guard. You crazy? Come on, you
Boris Diaw.
crazy?
If I would have closed my
Bro, that's
eyes,
a
I'd be like
in
Boris
today's
Diaw.
NBA, that's a power forward. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
that's he's
They
Blake is
actually
big.
play him at power forwards.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sure they
crazy.
do because he's big, bro. So like, shout out to Blake Hinson for going through this journey, bro. Being in the going team to team, bouncing from team to team, and finding a home finally in Utah. Sucks that it had to be Utah, but hey, um,
I'm
it's
not gonna
it's
talk shit about Utah. You in the NBA? There's 30 teams.
no
You
facts.
don't, who cares?
No,
yeah.
I
I
don't
mean
care what
Utah.
team you go to.
No, I don't mean Utah as a team. I mean Utah as a place. That's what I mean. Sucks that it has to be Utah, but yeah, Utah as a team, it don't matter. Like you said, yeah, an NBA team is an NBA team. So shout out to Blake, man. It's remarkable, man. And right now he's shooting the lights out. By the way, the man is shooting 55% from the field, 50% from three. So They saw that man knock down his shots officially and said, "Listen, we're gonna have to bump somebody off this starting lineup." You know what I'm saying? So like, shout out to him. Just overall, just shout out to him.
I got a quick question. I mean, this is gonna. I don't want to, because I know we're closing the podcast soon. Is Ace Bailey, has he been hurt a lot this year, or something, or is he just not getting playing time?
I don't
Random
know.
question, because they would play like the same position. That's why I'm asking.
They don't play
Uh,
the same position.
he's played 53
That's-
games, so
Yeah.
But I thought Ace played like small forward, or is he a shooting guard?
Blake's not playing small forward. Blake's
No. Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey. I thought he was a small forward.
Yeah. You just said they
Oh,
play the
okay.
same
Never mind. I it all clicked. Thank you. All right, now go ahead. Do your thing.
Ace Bailey's been playing a lot. You know, he's very uber athletic, so you have to make sure he's at the court all the time. No,
The
but
word
yeah,
of the day is uber
But he actually
athletic.
is though.
Put it in the
He
comments.
actually
Watch. Uber athletic.
that's the term of the day for sure. But yeah, man, shout out to Blake Hinson for sure. I wanted to finish off the podcast with that, man. It's remarkable what he's able to accomplish. I hope things keep going for them. I know the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz just traded for Jaren Jackson, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so-
they shut him
this
down
season
for the
at all.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah, they shut him down for the season.
it's going to be tough for him to find a home in Utah, unfortunately. I'll say that straight up because obviously they have up and
A
coming
lot of
Ace
forwards.
Bailey. They have Laurie Markkinen, Jerry Jackson. So it's going to be tough. But what I do love about this is he's going to get an opportunity to show the world what he's really capable of and the role that he could play in other places. And I would not be surprised whatsoever if Blake finds himself in a small opportunity somewhere else coming off season. So crossing our fingers that it works out, even on the Jazz, obviously, I'm sure he would love to move somewhere else. But either way, hopefully it works out for them in general. Imagine he comes back to Florida, you know what I'm saying? Imagine he ends up on
And
Miami.
we need some shooting.
Imagine
We
he
need
ends
some
up
shooting, man.
Imagine he ends up in Orlando. Excuse me. Imagine he ends up in Miami, whatever the case might be. That would be dope.
Fire.
But shout out to Blake, man. I'm proud of you. I'm glad that you made your dreams come true. That's all we have for today, though. Make sure y'all leave a comment. Make sure y'all subscribe, like, and comment. If you really want to support, please join our Atleta Club, man. We really love to have you. We're going to announce our March winner in a few weeks. So get yourself added to that list of people who are eligible to win 2 tickets to Aquatica. All right? Join the Atleta Club. Hit that subscribe button. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff, man. We're out of here. Hooptalk out. Deuces.
Tyler might be there or he might not be.
If I'm feeling better, I will. But right now, who knows?